She texted her mom, "He broke my arm," sent to wrong number. Mafia boss replied, "I'm on my way." Her hand was shaking as she tried to type on the screen. All she wanted was to drop a text for her mom to come save her from her toxic husband. While in a haste, she missed a digit, and the text landed on the most feared mafia boss in the city. He was tidying up his day's work as his phone beeped. He would have ignored it, but he was expecting an important text. As he picked up his cell phone, his expression darkened. He quickly called his boys to track the number and arrive at the location within 10 minutes. Before we dive into this thrilling story, where are you watching from, and what time is it right now? Smash that subscribe button, like, and comment. Sophie Martinez's arm was broken. She knew it was broken because she'd heard the snap, felt the bones separate under Marcus's grip when he twisted it with both hands in a rage fueled by Jack Daniels and paranoia. The pain was white-hot, blinding, but worse than the pain was the certainty that this time he'd gone too far. This time she might actually die if she didn't get out tonight. She was 26 years old and had been trapped in this nightmare for 2 years, watching a man who once brought her flowers transform into a monster who broke her bones. Tonight was different. Tonight, the look in his eyes when he'd released her arm and stepped back wasn't remorse. It was calculation. He was deciding whether to finish what he started. Marcus left, didn't say where he was going, just grabbed his keys and slammed out of their apartment, leaving Sophie collapsed on the kitchen floor, cradling her mangled arm. She had maybe 20 minutes before he came back. 20 minutes to call for help or accept that this apartment would become her grave. Her phone was on the counter 3 feet away, but felt like 3 miles. She crawled, every movement sending lightning through her broken arm, and pulled herself up enough to grab the phone with her good hand. Her mother, Rosa, lived 5 hours away in Springfield. Too far to help tonight, but Sophie had no one else. All her friends had slowly disappeared over 2 years as Marcus isolated her, controlled her, made her world so small it contained only him and his violence. She tried to type her mother's number through vision blurred by tears and pain. 312557849. Her mother's cell phone that she'd memorized years ago. But her hand was shaking so badly, her fingers clumsy with shock, and she hit the 8 instead of the 4 in the last digit. 312557948. She didn't notice the mistake. Just typed out the message that might save her life. "Mom, he broke my arm. I need help. Please come get me. I'm so scared. Apartment 4B 2847. Ashland Avenue. Please hurry." Hit send. Collapsed against the cabinet. Waited for her mother to respond, and prayed Marcus stayed, gone long enough for rescue to arrive. Across the city, Dante Caruso was finishing paperwork in his office at midnight. He was 45 years old and had built a criminal empire that controlled half of Chicago through strategic violence and absolute loyalty. They called him the Phantom because he moved unseen and struck without warning. He just finished reviewing territory reports when his phone buzzed. He almost ignored it. Midnight texts were usually problems he didn't want to deal with until morning. But he was expecting confirmation from his accountant about a money transfer that needed to clear tonight. Business that couldn't wait. He picked up his phone, expecting numbers and bank codes. Instead, he got 7 words that made his blood run cold. "Mommy broke my arm. I need help. Please come get me. I'm so scared. Apartment 4B 2847. Ashland Avenue. Please hurry." Dante read it 3 times. This wasn't his accountant. This was someone in genuine terror reaching out for their mother. Someone whose arm had been broken by someone they were afraid of. The words triggered a memory, 15 years old, that still woke him screaming. His sister Isabella. Her boyfriend. Finding her body with every bone in her arms broken from defending herself before he'd beaten her to death. Dante had been out of town. Got home too late. Found her dead on her apartment floor in a pool of blood. He'd held her cold body and sworn he'd never let it happen again to anyone if he had the power to stop it. He had the power now. More power than almost anyone in Chicago. And someone had just accidentally given him the chance to keep his promise to Isabella's grave. Dante hit speed dial. His second-in-command Marco answered on the first ring. "Boss." Dante's voice was pure command. "Get the crew full tactical. We move now. Track this number. Give me the location." Marco heard the tone and knew not to question. How many men? Everyone available. Armed. Ready for war. I want that location in 5 minutes, and we arrive in 10. Understood. Marco started mobilizing while Dante typed a response to the unknown number. I'm on my way. Stay calm. Lock the door. I'm coming. He didn't explain he wasn't her mother. Didn't have time. Just needed her to stay alive for 10 minutes. Sophie's phone buzzed, and she grabbed it expecting confusion from her mother about how she'd get there so fast. Instead, the message was simple and commanding. I'm on my way. Stay calm. Lock the door. I'm coming. Something felt wrong. Her mother would have asked questions, expressed panic, called instead of texted. But Sophie's brain was foggy with pain and fear. Maybe her mother was already driving. Maybe she'd explain later. The important thing was help was coming. She dragged herself to the apartment door and twisted the deadbolt with her good hand. Collapsed against the wall. Tried to breathe through pain that made her want to vomit. That's when she heard Marcus's footsteps in the hallway. Heavy. Angry. The particular rhythm that meant he was drunk and looking for a target. She held her breath as he tried the door. Found it locked. His voice came through the wood like a threat. Sophie, open this door right now. She stayed silent. Prayed he'd give up. Go away. Pass out. Anything. Instead, he started pounding. I said open it. Don't make me break this door down. Each impact rattled the frame. Sophie texted with her good hand shaking so badly she could barely hit the right letters. Mom, he's here. He's trying to get in. Please hurry, please. Dante's convoy of 5 black SUVs was screaming through Chicago at 90 miles per hour, running red lights, weaving through traffic. Marco had traced the number to an apartment building in a working-class neighborhood 8 minutes away. Dante was in the lead vehicle, gripping his phone, watching for any new messages. When Sophie's second text came through, his rage went nuclear. She was trapped. The man who'd broken her arm was trying to break down her door. They had maybe minutes before this turned from rescue to recovery of a body. He leaned forward. Faster. I don't care if you have to drive on the sidewalk. Faster. They pulled up to the apartment complex with tires smoking. Residents peeked through windows, seeing 5 SUVs and 15 armed men emerging like an invasion force. Dante didn't care about witnesses. Cared about nothing except getting to apartment 4B before it was too late. He took the stairs 3 at a time, his men flowing behind him with military precision. 4th floor. He could hear someone kicking a door before he even reached the hallway. Turned the corner and saw a big man, 6'2", muscular, drunk, focused entirely on breaking through a door that was barely holding. Marcus was mid-kick when he registered Dante and 9 armed men filling the hallway. He froze. Alcohol made him stupid enough to challenge instead of run. Who the hell are you? Dante's voice was quiet and deadly. I'm the person who got a text that you broke someone's arm. That you? Marcus trying to process through his whiskey fog. That's my girlfriend. This is private. You need to leave. Dante stepped closer. Every movement deliberate. Your girlfriend. You broke her arm. That correct? Marcus, realizing he was in danger, but too drunk and arrogant to back down. She felt it was an accident. This is none of your business. The door opened. Sophie appeared in the doorway and immediately collapsed. Her left arm was grotesquely swollen and bent wrong. Her face was bruised, lips split, eye blackening. The evidence of tonight's violence was written across her body in ways that made Dante see red. She looked up expecting her mother, and instead saw a stranger in an expensive suit surrounded by dangerous men. You're not my mom. Who are you? Why are you here? Dante knelt beside her, careful not to touch her injured arm. You texted the wrong number, but I came anyway. You're safe now. Marcus tried to push past Dante's men. Sophie, get back inside. These people are crazy. Dante stood slowly and turned to face Marcus with an expression that promised death. You broke her arm. You've been beating her. How long? Marcus, defensive and stupid. That's none of your business. This is my girlfriend. Dante's voice dropped to a lethal whisper. She stopped being yours the moment you put hands on her. Now she's under my protection. Marco and the crew created a wall between Marcus and Sophie. Marcus finally understanding he was facing organized crime. I'll call the police. This is kidnapping. Dante smiled without humor. Call them. Tell them you beat a woman, and I'm making sure you never touch her again. See who they arrest. He turned back to Sophie. I'm calling my doctor. He'll meet us at my facility. We'll set that arm properly. You're coming with me. Sophie, terrified and confused. I don't know you. Why would you help me? Dante's voice broke slightly. Because 15 years ago my sister called for help and I got there too late. I found her dead from what her boyfriend did. I won't be too late this time. The raw pain in his voice made Sophie understand this wasn't about her. This was about someone he'd lost. Someone who needed help and didn't get it. She nodded through her tears. Okay, get me away from him. Please. Dante scooped her up, carefully mindful of her broken arm. Carried her past Marcus, who was being restrained by 4 men who looked like they wanted an excuse to hurt him. Dante paused next to Marcus. You come near her again, you try to find her, you even think about her, and I'll make you disappear. Not kill you. Worse, I'll make sure you wish you were dead. Understand? Marcus nodded, frantically, finally grasping who he was dealing with. Sophie's head rested against Dante's chest as he carried her downstairs. She whispered, "Thank you, I thought I was going to die tonight." Dante's arms tightened around her protectively. You're safe now, I promise. No one hurts you ever again. The SUV ride to Dante's private medical facility was a blur of pain and shock. Sophie cradled her broken arm while Dante made calls arranging doctors and security and accommodations. She heard him clearly despite her foggy state. I don't care what it costs, get Castellano there now. Full orthopedic setup. She's family, she gets the best. Family. She'd accidentally texted a stranger and somehow become his family in the space of 20 minutes. Who are you really? Her voice was small. Why do you have an army? Dante looked at her directly. I'm Dante Caruso. People call me a crime boss. It's accurate. I'm not a good man. But I don't hurt innocents, and I don't tolerate men who beat women. You needed help tonight, and I could provide it. So I did. Sophie should have been more afraid. Should have questioned whether she'd traded one dangerous man for another. But something in Dante's eyes told her he was telling the truth. He'd save her not to own her, but because he'd failed to save someone else. She was a second chance at keeping a promise to a dead sister. The medical facility was unmarked and private. Dr. Castellano was waiting, Chicago's best orthopedic surgeon, someone who owed Dante favors and didn't ask questions. He examined Sophie's arm with professional gentleness. Clean break. Needs setting and casting. She'll need surgery eventually, but this will stabilize it. You'll need to stay somewhere safe tonight. You can't go back to that apartment. Sophie's voice was defeated. I don't have anywhere. All my friends are his friends. My family is far away. Dante's response was immediate. You stay with me. I have guest rooms. Security. You'll be protected. His estate was a fortress disguised as luxury. The guest suite he showed Sophie to was bigger than her entire apartment had been. She was overwhelmed, confused, in pain, trying to process how a wrong number text had led to this moment. Dante's housekeeper Maria brought food and clean clothes and kindness Sophie hadn't experienced in 2 years. Is he really a criminal? Should I be scared? Maria's smile was gentle. Mr. Caruso is complicated, but he protects those he claims as his. You're safe here. I promise you that. At 2 in the morning, Sophie couldn't sleep despite exhaustion. Pain and adrenaline kept her wired. She found Dante in his study staring at a photograph. A young woman, early 20s, smiling at the camera with joy that jumped off the paper. Your sister? Sophie's voice made him turn. Isabella. She was 23 when her boyfriend killed her. I was out of town for business. She called me that night begging for help. Said he was going to kill her. I told her to call the police and I'd be home in the morning. By morning she was dead. He'd beaten her for hours. Sophie's heart broke for this dangerous man carrying such devastating guilt. I'm sorry. That's why you came so fast when you got my text. Dante nodded. When I saw those words about a broken arm and someone begging their mother for help, I saw a chance to not be too late. To save someone. To keep the promise I made at Isabella's grave that I'd never let it happen again if I had power to stop it. Sophie crossed him. You saved me tonight. Your sister will be proud. Tomorrow we get a restraining order filed. Marcus won't come near you. My lawyers are the best in Chicago. Sophie's practical nature reasserted itself. I can't afford lawyers. I'm just a waitress. Dante's voice was firm. You don't pay. This is what I do. I protect people who need protecting. That's you now. Sophie wanted to argue, but exhaustion and pain were winning. She swayed and Dante steadied her. You need to sleep. We'll figure everything out tomorrow. Let yourself rest. You're safe here. The next morning, Sophie woke in the most comfortable bed she'd ever experienced. Her arm throbbed, but was professionally treated. Breakfast was waiting. Fresh clothes and her size appeared. Everything felt surreal, like she'd stepped into someone else's life. Dante found her staring out the window. We need to get your belongings from that apartment. My men will escort you safely. Sophie's panic was immediate. Marcus will be there. He'll try to stop me. Dante's smile was cold. Marcus is currently in jail. I had him arrested for assault last night. Filed charges on your behalf with evidence. He's not getting out for months. Sophie couldn't process how much had happened while she slept. You did all that overnight? Dante shrugged. I told you I protect what's mine. You texted me for help. That makes you mine to protect now. The possessiveness should have scared her, but instead made her feel valued for the first time in years. What do I owe you for all this? There's always a price. Dante's expression was serious. You owe me nothing. You stay safe. You heal. You rebuild your life. That's the price. But Sophie's old phone started buzzing with calls from jail. Marcus leaving increasingly unhinged voicemails. Baby, I'm sorry, it was an accident. I love you. Please drop the charges. Then, angrier. You turned me in? After everything I did for you? You betrayed me. Finally threatening. Why, get out, you're dead. I'll find you wherever you hide. You're mine forever. Sophie's face went white listening. Dante took the phone and listened to every message. His expression darkened with each threat. He just threatened to kill you from jail. That's additional charges. He's not getting out for years now. But Sophie knew Marcus. He has friends outside. They'll come for me. He always finds me. Dante's voice was absolute. Then they'll face me and my entire organization. Let them try. I'll end them all. His protection wasn't temporary, Sophie realized. He claimed her as family. She brought danger to his door. I should leave. Dante's response was immediate and fierce. You're not leaving. You're staying. Anyone who comes for you dies. Period. That's final. Sophie looked at this complicated, dangerous man who'd saved her from a wrong number text, who'd mobilized an army for a stranger, who'd given her safety she'd forgotten existed. She didn't understand why he cared, but she believed he did. Believed he'd protect her with everything he had. Not because he wanted something from her, but because he'd failed someone else, and she represented his chance at redemption. Thank you. For everything. For saving me. For making me feel like I matter. Dante's voice was soft. You do matter. More than you know. And I promise you this. As long as I'm alive, no one will ever hurt you again. 1 week after the wrong number text that changed everything, Marcus's construction crew buddies decided to test Dante Caruso's protection. Tommy, Jake, and Carlos were loyal to Marcus, believed his version where Sophie was the villain, thought teaching her a lesson would earn them respect. They were wrong. They started surveillance on Dante's property, trying to map security patterns and find a weak point. Dante's cameras caught them within an hour. His head of security brought him the footage showing 3 men in a pickup truck circling the estate taking photographs. Dante recognized them immediately from background checks his people had run on everyone connected to Marcus. Sophie was in therapy when Dante interrupted the session. We need to talk. Now. His tone made her stomach drop. The therapist discreetly left, and Dante showed her the surveillance footage. Marcus's friends are watching the house, trying to find a way to you. Sophie's hands started shaking, the fear she'd been processing in therapy roaring back with a vengeance. I knew it. He always said he'd find me. I'm not safe anywhere. Dante took her hands firmly. You're safe here. They can't get through my security. But we need to end this permanently. I'm having Marcus transferred upstate to maximum security. His friends will face consequences. They'll learn you're completely off limits. But Sophie knew these men. They won't stop. Marcus owns them. They'll keep trying until they get me or die trying. Dante's expression went cold. Then they'll die trying. I've been patient. I've been legal. But I can be something else if needed. Sophie saw the monster underneath the protector and should have been terrified, but instead felt safer. Don't kill people for me. I'm not worth that. Dante's response was fierce. You're worth it. Don't ever say you're not. You're under my protection, which means everything. Anyone who touches you answers to me with their life. Friday night, Sophie was reading in her room, trying to feel normal when her window exploded inward in a shower of glass. Tommy crashed through wielding a crowbar, his face twisted with rage and righteousness. Marcus says hi. You're coming with me. Sophie screamed as he grabbed her injured arm, deliberately squeezing where it was still healing. The security alarm was immediate and deafening, but Tommy had her in a headlock, using her as a shield. Dante burst through the door 5 seconds later, gun drawn, his face absolutely murderous. Let her go now, or I end you where you stand. Tommy pressed the crowbar against Sophie's throat. Back off, or I break her other arm at her neck. Dante's aim never wavered. You touch her again, you don't leave this house alive. I'm giving you one chance to walk away. Tommy laughed. One chance. I'm holding all the cards here. Sophie bit down hard on Tommy's arm, tasting blood. He yelped and his grip loosened just enough. She twisted and dove toward Dante, who caught her and spun, putting himself between her and Tommy. Security flooded the room, tackling Tommy, disarming him, slamming him to the floor with professional brutality. 2 more men were captured outside. Jake and Carlos had been trying to breach from different entry points simultaneously. Dante held Sophie, who was shaking violently. You're okay. I've got you. You're safe. But Sophie was sobbing. They found me. They got in. Nowhere is safe. I'll never be safe. Dante's voice was steel-wrapped in gentleness. They failed. My security worked. They're captured. And now they pay for touching you. He carried her out of the glass-filled room to his own bedroom. Laid her on his bed, checking for injuries. You're not hurt? Just scared? Sophie nodded, unable to speak. Dante sat beside her. I'm going to handle this. They'll never threaten you again. I promise. The warehouse where Dante took his 3 captives was designed for interrogation. Tommy, Jake, and Carlos were tied to chairs, terrified despite their earlier bravado. Dante paced in front of them. You broke into my home. Tried to kidnap someone under my protection. Marcus put you up to this? Tommy tried defiance. Marcus is our boy. He asked us to get his girl back. We were helping a friend. Dante's laugh was without humor. His girl? He broke her arm. Beat her for 2 years. She's not his anything. She's mine. And you just signed your death warrants. Jake broke first. We didn't know the whole story. Marcus said she was lying about the abuse. Said she turned on him. We were just trying to help. Dante leaned in close. I saw her injuries. I got the text begging for help. I watched her shake with terror for a week. She's not lying. Your friend is a monster and you're fools for believing him. Now you have 2 choices. Option 1, you testify against Marcus. Tell the police he orchestrated this kidnapping attempt. Help put him away for decades. Option 2, you refuse and I make you disappear. Your families never find bodies. You just vanish. Choose. Carlos was crying. We'll testify. We'll tell them everything. Just don't kill us, please. Tommy still had misplaced loyalty. Marcus will kill us if we snitch. Dante's voice was absolute. Marcus is in prison and will stay there forever after you testify. He can't hurt you, but I can hurt you right now if you don't cooperate. So choose quickly because my patience is gone. All 3 men agreed to testify. Within 48 hours, Marcus faced new charges of conspiracy to commit kidnapping, criminal conspiracy, and making terrorist threats from jail. His bail was revoked permanently. Transfer to maximum security upstate was approved. He was looking at 15 to 20 years minimum. Sophie attended the hearing with Dante beside her, watched Marcus in an orange jumpsuit screaming threats at her as he was led away. You're dead. Why get out? You're dead. The judge added contempt charges and another year to his sentence. Sophie watched this man who controlled her through fear reduced to impotent rage. It's really over? He's really gone? Dante squeezed her hand. He's gone. He can't hurt you anymore. You're free of him forever. Sophie broke down crying in the courthouse hallway. 2 years of abuse, weeks of terror, constant fear, finally releasing in great heaving sobs. Dante held her through all of it, never leaving her side. Back at the estate, Sophie collapsed emotionally. The adrenaline that had sustained her crashed hard. She spent 3 days barely leaving her room, processing trauma with her therapist, grieving the 2 years she'd lost to Marcus's violence. Dante checked on her constantly, bringing food she didn't eat, sitting quietly when she couldn't talk, just being present. Why did he hurt me? What did I do wrong? Why wasn't I enough? Her voice was broken. Dante's response was firm. You did nothing wrong. He's sick, broken inside. It was never about you not being enough. Abusers hurt because they're damaged. You were perfect. He was broken. 3 months passed with Sophie healing faster than expected. The nightmares decreased. The jumping at loud noises faded. She started working again as a hostess at a restaurant Dante owned where she felt safe. Her arm healed completely. Therapy helped her understand that abuse wasn't love, and she deserved better. She was learning to live without fear for the first time in years. And she was noticing Dante, really noticing him, the way he checked on her daily, the gentle concern in his voice, how safe she felt when he was near, the attraction she'd been suppressing because gratitude and love felt too tangled to separate. Sophie's 27th birthday brought a small celebration. Just her, Dante, Maria, and Marco. Cake and presents and warmth she hadn't felt since before Marcus. Dante's gift was a delicate necklace with a pendant engraved with one word. Fearless. Because you are fearless. You survived. You're rebuilding. You're strong. Sophie touched the pendant with tears in her eyes. I'm not fearless. I'm terrified all the time. Dante took her hand. Being scared and doing it anyway is true courage. That's you. Their eyes locked, and the moment stretched electric and charged. Marco cleared his throat awkwardly. I'll just go check security. Sophie realized with startling clarity that she was falling for Dante, the man who'd saved her, who'd protected her, who'd made her feel valuable when she'd felt worthless. But he was 19 years older, a criminal, her protector, not her boyfriend. This was gratitude, not love. She was confused and vulnerable, and he'd saved her, so of course she felt this way. Except her feelings didn't feel like gratitude. They felt like love. Real, complicated, terrifying love. Dante was fighting the same battle. Sophie had become essential to him. He thought about her constantly, missed her when business took him away, wanted to protect her from everything, including his own feelings. Late one night, Sophie found Dante in his study again. Can't sleep? His voice was gentle. Too much thinking. About what? Sophie gathered courage. About how my life changed because I texted the wrong number. About how you saved me when you didn't have to. About how I feel safe for the first time in years because you're here. Dante's voice carried warning. Sophie, don't. But she continued. About how I'm falling for you and don't know what to do about it. The confession hung between them. Dante stood and paced. You're confused. Trauma bonding. I saved you so you think you feel something, but it's not real. Sophie's voice was firm. Don't tell me what I feel. I'm not confused. I know my own heart. I'm falling for you. For your strength, your protection, your kindness. For how you see me as strong when I feel weak. For how you saved me and asked nothing in return. Dante ran his hands through his hair. You're vulnerable, traumatized. I'm 19 years older. I'm a criminal. This can't happen. Sophie stood and crossed him. I don't care about the age difference. I don't care what you do for a living. I care about who you are. The man who came when a stranger needed help. Who protected me when everyone else failed. Who made me feel valued when I felt worthless. I'm falling in love with you, Dante. Their faces were inches apart. I can't take advantage of you. You're under my care. Sophie's voice was steady. I'm not asking you to take advantage. I'm asking you to take a chance. On us. On what we could be. On something real. Dante struggled visibly. If we do this, if I let myself feel what I feel, I can't go back. Then don't go back. Go forward. With me. He kissed her finally. Gentle and passionate simultaneously. Weeks of suppressed feelings exploding in that contact. Sophie kissed back, pouring gratitude and love and hope into the moment. They broke apart breathless. I love you. Her whisper. Dante's voice was rough. I love you too. God help me, I love you too. I haven't felt like this since my wife died. You make me want to be better than I am. They stopped fighting their feelings. Let themselves be together. Dante treated Sophie like treasure, patient with her trauma, never pushing boundaries, giving her control she'd been denied for 2 years. Sophie bloomed under his love, became confident, happy, healed faster than any timeline predicted. His organization accepted her. Boss's woman was off limits, but also protected and respected. Marco approved. Boss hasn't smiled like this in years. She's good for him. Makes him think before he acts. Softens the edges without making him weak. Maria was delighted. Finally, you find someone. You deserve happiness after so much darkness. 1 year after the wrong number text, Dante took Sophie back to her old apartment building. She hadn't been back since the night he'd carried her out. Why are we here? Her voice held fear. Because I want to show you something. Trust me. They went to apartment 4B where a new tenant lived. A single mother with a young daughter, safe and smiling. Dante had arranged it. Woman escaping abuse got this apartment rent-free for a year through his foundation. Your survival helped her survive. Your courage inspired her courage. I started a foundation helping abuse survivors find housing, safety, support. Named it the Isabella and Sophie Foundation. After my sister who I lost and you who I found. Sophie was crying. You did this? In my name? Dante took her hands. Your story matters. Your survival matters. I wanted to turn your pain into purpose. Help others the way I helped you. We've housed 50 women in the first year. Provided legal aid, therapy, job training. All because you had the courage to text for help even when you were terrified. That night Dante proposed. Got down on one knee with a ring. Sophie, you texted the wrong number and found me instead. You saved me as much as I saved you. Gave me purpose beyond violence. Showed me I could protect instead of just destroy. I love you more than I thought possible. Will you marry me? Sophie sobbed. Yes. Absolutely yes. I love you so much. The kiss sealed their future. Former victim and her savior building life together. 3 years later, they were married and running the foundation together. It had helped 2,000 abuse survivors find safety, housing, support, new lives. Sophie spoke at events, sharing her story, giving hope to trapped women. Your wrong number can lead to your right person. Your worst night can become your best life. Don't give up. Help exists. Love exists. Freedom exists. I'm proof. Dante used his power for good now. Funding shelters, supporting survivors, destroying abusers legally through evidence and testimony instead of violence. They had a daughter, Isabella Rosa, named for his sister and her mother. Perfect and loved, and growing up knowing her father was complicated but good where it mattered. Sophie's mother Rosa visited regularly, laughing about fate. I'm so glad you texted the wrong number that night. Best mistake you ever made. Sophie agreed. Led me to the man who became my everything. My protector, my love, my home. Dante holding their daughter. Wrong number was the right number. It brought me you. Saved us both from darkness. Gave us light when we'd forgotten it existed. The foundation kept growing. 5,000 survivors helped. Lives rebuilt. Hope restored. Sophie and Dante proved that sometimes the worst moments lead to the best outcomes. That wrong numbers can connect right people. That love can grow from trauma if given patience and protection. That monsters can become heroes when they find someone worth being better for. Sophie touched her fearless necklace that she still wore daily. One text changed everything. Led her from abuse to love. From broken to healed. From alone to family. Proved that help exists in unexpected places and heroes come in complicated packages. If this story absolutely destroyed you and made you believe in second chances, then smash that subscribe button like your life depends on it. Hit like if you think love can come from unexpected places. Drop a comment about the bravest text you ever sent. Share this with someone who needs hope today. Let us know where you're watching from. Turn on notifications because our next story is even more incredible.